Hi everyone. 6 months, countless launches, exhausting repetition, and yet only a handful have made the cut. The rest banished to the beauty drawer of shame. Mid-year favourites. Let's get into it. At the beginning of the year, it really felt to me like the foundations were really flowing down the beauty launch mountain. And there seemed to be an emphasis on glowy foundations, but not exclusively at all. So that Dior launched a sort of a glowy foundation, Givenchy, Guerlain also, but there were also others. ABH launched her impeccable matte foundation, and Studio Fix relaunched their powder foundation. So there was a real range. Now for me, the two foundations that I just kept going back to were the Givenchy and the Guerlain. Now with the Guerlain, they had a head start because my favourite foundation for a while has been the Guerlain Teint foundation, the original. So when they launched the Glow, it was kind of a bit of a no-brainer, not least because I was so dead certain of my shade, which is always seems to be a bit problematic for me. So that was fantastic. Then this little baby came along. Now I had not tried Givenchy foundations before, and actually the truth is that this has probably pipped Guerlain to the post. So in terms of my awards, Givenchy is first place, but Guerlain is very much second place with 1 foot on the first podium because it's a very, very, very close runner-up. The truth is, I absolutely love them both. It's just that Givenchy has kind of, got the slight edge. I even like the fragrance of both of them. They're different fragrances, but I even love that as well about them. And the fact that they are, transfer proof. They're glowy, but not too glowy. I can get a very thin application if I want to, but I can also get a medium application out of it. They're both fantastic. They really are. And also the skin benefits in both of these, as a dry skin, and particularly, January, February, March in the UK for me is just always really difficult. My skin's at its absolute driest. That has really helped. The slip, the serum quality of both of these foundations, has really, really helped. Just fantastic. However, I do want to give an honourable mention to 2 foundations. One is the ABH Impeccable Foundation, and the other is the MAC Studio Fix. Probably for similar reasons, they have both really kind of launched me on a quest to see if I can find a matte foundation that's kind of appropriate for a mature skin. So more of that kind of in later videos. The ABH foundation would absolutely not have been one that I would have even thought about trying had I not had my very newly launched channel. My channel only launched at the end of January of this year. So I bought that foundation to sort of show you and to kind of review it. And actually it was a really happy occurrence for me because I actually have found that I really like that foundation in and of itself. With the Studio Fix, I had this anyway in sort of two different shades. So I was always gonna, buy this one. I have to say I'm surprised by quite how much this is kind of a polarizing, it's either a polarizing brand, but this is certainly a polarizing foundation. People seem to either love it or hate it. And in fact, last week, I was in a quite swanky hotel doing my makeup first thing in the morning before a meeting, and I was putting this on, and I'd only put this in the makeup bag because it was I wasn't going to spill it, it was just going to be kind of idiot proof. And as I was applying it, this very beautifully turned out lady came up to me and said, "Oh, I love this foundation. I really love it." And I said, "Yes, so do I," and so on. And so we had a little chat. But the way she said it in hushed tones made me ask her, why did you sort of use that tone? And she said, "I don't feel very sophisticated when I take it out of my makeup bag." I don't know. Maybe that's it. Is Givenchy because it's a swankier make? Is it that? I don't know. Let me know if you've got a view on it, but something's going on with MAC. Anyway, so that is my foundation roundup for the first half of 2025. It's basically these two with a bit of ABH and MAC as honourable mentions. In terms of skin tints and tinted moisturisers, there isn't a winner. There just isn't. And I'll tell you why. I haven't been wowed by anything. There hasn't been anything that I've tried and reviewed and then kept using and gone beyond the like stage, which for me, frankly, is not enough because it means I'm not going to repurchase. And for me, that's kind of the criteria for this 6-month roundup. You know, if I finished a product or I lost it, would I go out and buy another one? And the answer is no. The product I have been using and really enjoying launched last year. This is the Charlotte Tilbury with a very long name, Skin Tint. But I can't award it this year's, cup, as it were, because it's actually last year's launch. But this is what I'm using. And actually, this is the one to beat. So there is no winner for this 6-month roundup when it comes to skin tints and tinted moisturisers. In terms of powders, I'm not really a powder person in that I use powder, but I use so little that I just never finish a powder. So it's quite hard for me to get excited about a new powder because I've already got so many and they're just kind of, I know they're never going to end. So this year we had Huda Beauty's the very sort of lavendery pink powder, which again I didn't try, although I did give it a little swatch in Sephora, and it was interesting, but it wasn't enough for me to buy. Makeup Forever launched a powder, and also Danessa Myricks launched a universal shade for her Yummy Skin Blurring Balm powder. I didn't buy it at launch. I bought it about 5 weeks ago because I'd seen it in Sephora and I'd sort of tried it and I was a bit curious. Then I decided to take the plunge and I love it. I absolutely love it, and I feel bad that I didn't actually review it, so it may well be that I'll cover it in a future video, but the fact that it was universal, I only trusted Danessa with manufacturing and creating a universal product for a medium skin, because anything universal normally just looks, or there's a very high likelihood at the very least, will look either ashy or too white or too kind of weird on me, either immediately or as the day sort of progresses. This is absolutely fantastic. The thing I don't like about it is it basically smells of petrol. And while that fragrance kind of dissipates once you put it on your face, you do smell it. I still smell it on application. I've not got nose blindness from it. But then, as I said, it dissipates and you don't notice it. But that's the thing that I don't like about this product. It has not, however, stopped me from buying the tinted version of it, which I've not even opened yet. It's just sitting over there. But I will, and I will that is something that I will review. However, I just wanted to say that this is a really lovely product. It keeps me matte all day, even after I have run wearing this. It's just fantastic. But it's also, the smell is not great. The Upsolite, presumably that's the magic ingredient in this Upsolite from Uppsala, which I vaguely remember from my geography as a child. But anyway, my point is the key ingredient, I think, is probably what it has, that off-putting smell, but it's still worth it. However, in terms of powders, while Givenchy relaunched their Prisme Libre, and it was really controversial, I took the plunge and bought Mousseline Acidulaire in the pressed powder finish. I mean, you can see I've worn this because I only put a little bit on my chin, a little bit around my nose, and you can still actually, you can still see the Givenchy logo, a little bit of it left. Anyway, this is absolutely fantastic. It's just right. It doesn't settle in the fine lines. It does, as a finishing powder, what you want it to do. Just kind of finish my makeup a little bit. It's not really matte. It's not cakey. It's not powdery. It's not flowery. It's absolutely fantastic. So then I took the plunge and I only bought the little one because I use so little powder, as I said, and I bought Poplin Mimosa in the loose powder. And it's wonderful. It really is. It's a very, very good shade for me as well. So that's great. I know that, this relaunch was really problematic because the original was so well loved. It really was, in the kind of medium shade. But I never used that powder, so I didn't feel that same level of pain. So in terms of awards, this wins the pressed powder, this wins the loose powder, and I'm kind of done. But I do appreciate, because I'm not a massive powder wearer, I'm probably not giving you sort of the whole market, as it were. The other powder, which is an honourable mention because it was actually launched last year, but I discovered it this year, is the YSL All Hours pressed foundation, pressed powder, which for me is fantastic because the colour is great. And it is very much, you know, it is very much a finishing powder again, but I do love it. But it is these two, Givenchy, yet again, there is a theme actually to this video, you will find, has knocked it out of the park, I have to say. In terms of the eyeshadow category, these 6 months have been palette-tastic. We have had so much choice and excitement, I suppose, as well, from so many of the brands. Interestingly, even a slightly smaller brand like Lisa Eldridge, we've had 2 palettes from her already, and you know, I'm assuming we're going to get at least 1 more for the autumn-winter range. So that's been extraordinary, really. We've had Desert Gleam, and we have had the lovely Betty, which was a limited edition. Charlotte Tilbury gave us, I mean, I'm only showing you, I've got all of them, but these amazing beautifying eye trends, which I mean, I love all of them. You know, I've got my favorites, but I love all of them. I love the formulas. I actually find the packaging absolutely fine. I find it really useful that I can see what's inside in the way that I can, you know, I like the Dior Backstage ranges as well, although clearly these are different beasts. These are really properly pigmented, and the shimmers and the glitters and the metallics are just fantastic. So I really like these as well. I discovered this in the 6 months. I had my very first Tom Ford eyeshadow experience in Peach Glamour, which I really found fantastic, and I wear this palette actually, you know, a lot. I'm surprised quite how much I wear it and how easy it is to apply as well. It's just wonderful. And then also Prada launched, they had 3 new launches, and I took, it was Pansy that I bought and enjoyed. I like these not least because they're refillable, so even though it seems like an expensive purchase, you know, one can just get the refills subsequently, so that's really good. And then we had Danessa Myricks, which I really, really loved. I really do love this. Look at it, it's lovely. It's so great, such a great little palette. Great if you like a bright colour, but also these 2 shades here, so easy to wear if you want something kind of a little bit more, muted's probably the wrong word, but subtle is probably a better word, or just, you know, a little bit more of a kind of a nudie finish. And so thoughtful. Comes in a lovely little pochette to put it in, which I really appreciate actually. It's really nice, very good. Givenchy, I had to wait and wait and wait for this. This is the 915, but this was absolutely worth the wait. It really was. This palette is sublime in every way. There is not a dud amongst the 9. Just fabulous, everything about it. And actually, when I was getting everything ready for this video, the thing that I noticed, now where have I put it, was the box. Now I've got to find it. Oh, it's here. So for a lot of the products, I do still keep the boxes, and even the box is lovely. The packaging is absolutely beautiful in the Givenchy. I just really like it. But the thing that I noticed that I hadn't noticed first time round, and that's really bad, but it shows you how excited I was to get my fat little paws on this. Look at the back. They even give us the colours to enjoy in the palette, and actually give us like a little description, which I have to tell you, not everybody does. And YSL is actually a notable example of this. But on the back here, it does tell us that it's, you know, it gives us a little bit of a blurb, you know, exceptional glide, long wear, and so on. But I just really appreciated that they have enough respect for the customer, which I think is just so important. And sometimes I do feel, I would like to say this respectfully, there's not enough respect for the customer in the beauty world. A lot of the time it seems to me it's, here it is, go buy it, and you're not given very much information. But here they have, and they've told us whether they're mattes or metallics and given us a little colour code. I'm just saying that attention to detail is something I really appreciated, not least in this palette. The little brushes, there's two little brushes which slot together so that you're, you know, it's comfortable in your hand and you can actually use the brushes. And actually the brushes are usable. They're not the sort that I normally do. I just, with the Dior, for example, I just tip them out. The same with the Chanel as well. We also had a wonderful release from Lancôme, which I was delighted to hear about, because Lancôme holds a special place in my heart, because I did used to work on counter for Lancôme. And we had this palette, which actually, for the amount that you get, is stonking value in my opinion, and the quality is really nice. So, and you get a mirror and you get a nice compact. So there's a lot of competition for first and second and third place in this category. I should also say that MAC released Nude board, which I really like and I have used a lot, and actually is permanently in my kind of portable makeup bag, the one that I kind of grab and run if I'm sort of, I haven't got time to kind of put anything sort of special or kind of particularly, you know, chosen in there. That's my kind of go-to, because there's some really good one and done shades in there, and it's a really reliable palette. But again, MAC's just not that, I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel that people think it's particularly special or interesting anymore. And yet I think that the shades are really well curated and it's fantastic value as well. The other thing that I wanted to say is we had the Natasha Denona Bloom palette, which I do really like. I just feel that, and here's a reason why it's not in my top 3, I just feel that it was a little bit too samey. I would have liked some more shades in there that were kind of different and slightly more out there. It feels like too monochromatic for me. So given the number of choices we've got in there, you know, if it was a 5 or even a sort of a 6 pan, I'd think, okay, that's fine. But to have so many different shades all of a piece felt to me, it kind of felt like we could have had a better palette from Natasha Denona in terms of the choices. But you know, I know it's still a high quality, it's still lovely. I just feel it's not as lovely as it could have been. But we also had, I just want to say, Glaminatrix, which for me was a new departure, because that was the first time I bought anything from Glaminatrix, the Nearly Natural palette, which I do really, really like. I've got it here, I've used it a lot, I really have. And you can actually see, you can really see actually what I sort of gravitate towards, and it's very much the shimmers and the glitters. No fallout, just an absolute delight. This shade Smolder, which is a kind of very shimmery, black, dark, very, very dark grey, is fantastic. But you know, a lot of them they're really great shades. I really, really have enjoyed this, and I am very much looking forward to my Tones of Turd or Grounded arriving soon in the next few weeks. We also had YSL Unexplored Garden, and what was the other one? Sunrise Safari, and then another 2 as well that just seemed a little bit too samey to me. But Unexplored Garden I have particularly enjoyed and was actually more sort of surprising. Chanel had some good launches, as I said, and there were also the Beauty Pie shadow sticks, which I did appreciate, particularly the medium shade, which was the, I've got it here, I forget what it's called, there's 3 of them, and it's the medium one that I have used the most. That one there, the middle one, that's the one I've used the most. And there's a lot of Dior. My goodness, there was a lot of Dior. There was some limited edition Dior, and there was also Riviera Summer as well. The limited edition were the Saint Couleur, and they were lovely, just not as pigmented as I want. Nothing against Dior, that's just kind of Dior, that's just the way Dior and Chanel, you know, hang. That's kind of their thing. It's not particularly my thing. So there was a lot of choice. If I have to choose, and I do have to choose, then there's a joint first. I know this is really unsatisfying, but I just have to be honest. I can't just manufacture first, second and third. First would be the Givenchy 915 joint first with Betty, and I know that's annoying because that was limited edition and it's sold out now, but just to remind you what Betty was doing and how much I have worn said Betty palette. So yeah, so it would be Givenchy, Betty, Prada, Pansy, and all of the Charlotte Tilbury beautifying eye trends, with a very close second to the Lancôme Idôle Café Crush palette, which I think is absolutely wonderful. Third would be Tom Ford's Peach Glamour. Third, because it really is phenomenally expensive, and the first choice, first prize and second prizes show us you don't have to be spending that kind of money to get some fabulous eyeshadows, particularly in the Givenchy actually, which while the formula is very different, you know, the Tom Ford really does just glide on. But what the Givenchy has managed to give us is a 9-pan colour story that is, let me show you I'll show it to you the right way around, a 9-pan colour story that is both cohesive and separate. That is something that they have really managed absolutely beautifully. You can just use a vertical line across or any way you like, and it's just beautiful. You can get lots of different looks out of them. They blend beautifully. It's just fantastic. Now the Tom Ford blends, it glides, it's just magnificent. But it is a lot more money, I have to say. So if I was to sort of recommend one palette that's come out of the last 6 months, value for money also has to come into there as well. I don't want to yuck your yum if Tom Ford is your thing, because Tom Ford is very much my thing as well now. I absolutely love it, and I think they're good value in the sense that the shades are absolutely eternal shades that I have bought and I wear and enjoy. But when Charlotte Tilbury and Givenchy can give us good price points really for the range that we get, then it probably compares less well. That's basically my roundup. There is an honourable mention, and I'm only saying this because it's an honourable mention kind of in my head. This launched at the end of last year, but we couldn't actually get it until basically the end of December, beginning of January. So it's been in my hot little hand since the beginning of January. I have not stopped using this. It's just a really useful palette. It's the Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt palette, and it's one of those neutral, teeny tiny, look at it, it's just teeny tiny, one of her quints, and so useful. You can see how much I've used it, particularly the middle, can you see the middle shade? You know, I just use it a lot. It's just really good to carve out the eye, really good to use the darker shade, the two darkest shades actually as eyeliners. Really good, but probably not technically a 2025 launch. But my goodness, look what we've had in terms of eyeshadows. And we know there's more in the pipeline, there's more coming, there's more to fall in love with. So I kind of just think, what am I going to be saying in January 2026 if we all survive the year in terms of first, second and third position? I just can't imagine the Givenchy and the Lisa Eldridge and the Charlotte Tilbury in particular being bettered by the end of the year, but let's see. In terms of eyeliners, while I did try some liquid eyeliners, the real winners for me are the Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal. I bought all 6 for review purposes, feeling pretty sure I was going to use at least 2 or 3 of them. I have loved all of them. I've already bought a second Barbarella Brown, and I've already bought a second of the bronze one, which I forget what it's called, but look, this is my original one. There's not very much left. I bought another one and I've got that one in my makeup bag because this bronze is just lovely. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury bronze, and this is the bronze that I've favoured for a while actually, which is the YSL Lines Liberated. I still love the YSL, which of course was not a launch this year, but it's a more firm product, and of course it's not kohl, but it really, really lasts very nicely. Now these Rock and Kohl pencils, once they're set, and they're just great. I love them. Even the smudgy thing at the end I really like, because it's firm, and so I can smudge, but I can sort of really determine where it goes, as opposed to, for example, the Victoria Beckham, which also has a really lovely smudger, but it's a much softer smudge, because I mean, it's a different product, of course, but this is just right for this product. I absolutely love these. I heartily recommend them. So it's first prize, and there's no second or third. This is it. They are fantastic. Of the mascaras that launched, these are the three that I have really enjoyed. The Dior, the Prada, and Lisa Eldridge's shade launch, which was Burnt Umber. Now, I love brown mascara, so anybody who launches a brown mascara, I'm going to give it a go. This has been an absolute winner. So Lisa Eldridge wins first prize for the best brown mascara of 6 months. This one's actually coming to the end of its life. I'm kind of clinging on, but I have already ordered another one, so she passes the reorder test. We've also got Prada and Dior. I love them both. I think they're both fantastic. I will be reordering probably one, just because I only really need maybe 2 or 3 black mascaras on the go, and I've already got a new Charlotte Tilbury. I love this Exagger-Eyes from last year, I think it was. So I've got one of these on the go, and I've got my beloved Hourglass tubing mascara on the go as well. But it doesn't really matter which one of these I order again, because I'll definitely have both on the go at some point. These have been absolute winners, they really have. So I would say they win joint first prize. Prada's brush, while controversial, has really worked for me, actually. It's not dissimilar to Charlotte Tilbury's mascara that I can't remember the name of, that I've worn, you know, quite a few times actually, and really, really enjoyed. Particularly that lovely burgundy shade that she had and then sort of stopped. But anyway, the point is the fact that it's got the sort of the very flat side and then the bristles on the other side, that really works for me. I really just really love it. It seems to pick up even the sort of the tiniest lashes. And then the Dior is just a really good all-round thickening, lengthening, all singing, all dancing foundation mascara. It's just really good. I just kind of wish they would both have the imagination and the guts to launch in brown as well. But be that as it may, these are absolute winners, as is the Lisa Eldridge Burnt Umber. In terms of lip liners, I am a die-hard Charlotte Tilbury lip cheat user. I like the shades, I like the blurring quality, I like the longevity. I just love everything about them. So I was really excited to hear that she was bringing out a double-ended lip cheat contour duo. But this has been a disappointment to me because, and I have spoken about this before, I don't find the formula very long lasting, and also I went through it very, very quickly within 3 or 4 goes, because you're filling in your lips and, you know, one side ends up finishing quicker and it's a bit lopsided, and it's very poor value for money, frankly, given that I can easily do it with two different shades of lip cheat and just kind of fill in my lip, which I do oftentimes anyway. So while there are other lip liners that I enjoy, for example, both of Lisa Eldridge's ones, and I have what has now turned out into being a enduring affair with the Maybelline Lifter liners, which I also find amazing, and they're fantastic value. And these really do last on the lips, although the Charlotte Tilbury is more blurring and so on, but this is just fantastic in a pinch, and I've got loads of them dotted about. So really, I don't have a winning lip liner for the first 6 months of this year. I would like, however, to hear from you, because I never tried the Victoria Beckham lip liners. Are they worth me trying? And should I buy them? Please let me know down below, because I would love to know whether they're worth it. They come in a trio, I think, so I'm happy to try them, but I really value your advice, so do let me know. So there's no winner for the lip liners, no winners at all. In terms of the lip oils, now we had lip butters come out from Dior. We had the lip oils from Dior as well, which that was more of a shade extension actually for the summer range. And then we also had these wonderful, I think, YSL lip oils, which I just absolutely love. I've got 4 of them now. The one I use the most is the 44 Nude Lavalière, and I've just bought the one that's something mallow, which I really love. There's a lavender shade that I've got, which I think is the 01, and then this quite deep shade really for me, but I do really enjoy. These are fantastic. They win first prize, absolutely hands down. They are longer lasting than a normal kind of lip oil. They're very moisturizing. They've got a lovely gloss. I enjoy the doe foot. I love the packaging. I just love everything about them. YSL and their lip products. In fact, YSL in general has really been an absolute delight for me, but these are an absolute winner for me. I also want to give an honourable mention to second prize or honourable mention to Charlotte Tilbury's Plumpgasm diamonds, which I have worn and really enjoy. The packaging is cute, but it's just quite big and clunky, and sometimes that puts me off because I can't just stick it in my jean pocket very easily. However, the product itself is absolutely outstanding. I really love it. I wish we had more incarnations of it, more shades or more styles of it, you know, because I just really love it. It's fantastic. So those are my winners in the lip gloss category. In terms of blush, I think these 6 months have given us 2 outstanding new blushes that I have really enjoyed, and I would be very disappointed if I lost. I say lost because I so rarely finish a blusher that it's more likely that, you know, it's going to be lost or stolen than I'm going to finish it. So the first is the Charlotte Tilbury. Now I've got to get the name right for these because these are all long names. Pillow Talk. This is in Flawless Peach. It comes with a corresponding finishing powder, and this powder is absolutely beautiful. I wish she would release these finishing powders in different shades so we could just have them as a kind of, you know, actual finishing powder without the blush. But anyway, these are absolutely lovely. I know the packaging was controversial. I happen to find the packaging fun and exuberant and totally in keeping with her aesthetic, but I know that equally they were polarizing. But anyway, I think these are absolutely fantastic. Now, in the UK, we had to wait a ridiculous length of time for YSL to get their act together and let us purchase, through sort of legitimate UK means, the Make Me Blush powder blushes. Now, when I did actually get my little mitts on these, I absolutely adored them. These have been absolute winners for me. The ones that I wear the most, I have now got 4, but the ones that I wear the most are the number 57 and Coral Clash and 44 Nude Lavalière. They are just wonderful. They're also quite cute and sweet and easy and very portable, and there's even a little mirror, which I really do appreciate, and in a pinch I have used to touch my lipstick up. So I would say that these are a joint first prize. If anything, the YSL pips Charlotte Tilbury to the post because this is awfully big. I know it does 2 things, but the thing is, the powders, especially in the pink, are actually quite fair for anybody with a sort of a medium-ish tone onwards. So not quite as useful as the peach one, which even then, that's also quite light. So they are quite bulky, but they're also very beautiful and they feel kind of collectible. But anyway, legitimately, they are joint first prize. What I would say is a close second runner-up is the Laura Geller, which is a shade extension in her Cherry Custard, which I really enjoy. And again, that's in my grab and go makeup bag as well, because it's just a really useful colour, and I can put a little bit on my eyelids, and then with a little bit of mascara, I'm good to go. So that is absolutely wonderful. I don't really have a third place because I really love and appreciate the Kosas blushes, and there have been shade extensions that have just come out, and in fact I have got one of them, but I'm not going to put Kosas in third place. It's just that they're not really, you know, it would have to be a joint second with the Laura Geller, because Kosas is always one of my most preferred blushes. It's just that this one in particular has pipped Kosas to the first place. So that means that the blush kind of offering for me in the first 6 months has actually been a really good one, because I've got two new firm favourites in the Charlotte Tilbury and the YSL. But now that brings me on to highlighters. Now, I'm not an enormous highlighter user. I do enjoy a highlighter, and I like to put one on sort of on top of a matte blush. But again, with highlighters, I never go through them. So it's a bit of a vanity purchase, really. However, that apparently didn't stop me, because the one that I loved is the Dior Luminizer in the Coral Glow. It's not as pinky as I thought it was going to be, and actually that's my fault, because the clue's in the name. It's not pink glow, is it? It's Coral Glow. But it is a lovely colour, and I have really enjoyed using it. I just think that I have kind of moved on from very glimmery highlighters, and I want something a little bit more subtle. So I've had my odd flirtation with Tom Ford and others as well, and then I succumbed to the Prada highlighter, which is an unmitigated delight. I'm looking for it now. I know it's here somewhere. Oh, here it is. I've still got it in the box because that's kind of what I do. But it's just beautiful. What had put me off is when there was discussion about it, there was a lot of discussion about how expensive it is, and it is expensive. But honestly, it's not like Dior's the budget option. So, and Dior is a really lovely product, and it's just beautiful, and the packaging is absolutely gorgeous. But this goes to a different place. It's perfect for a mature dry skin. It's just smooth, finely milled. It's not glittery, it's not chunky. Not that, it's unfair to say, not that the Dior is glittery or chunky. It's just a little bit more in your face, luminizer-ish, you know. Whereas this is much more subtle and refined, and it's just because I've just moved, I've just changed, you know. This is still wonderful, but this goes to a different place. Plus, these are refillable. Now, when I looked at all three shades, I could have worn all three of them at any one time, and I will go back to get the more bronzy shade as well, now that I know how lovely this is. This is the pink, I think it's pink, in the medium pink, yeah, 02. I will go back for the 03 now, and I've got the case, so I can just get the refill. This just goes to a different place. And what I would say is, if you're somebody who is not a highlighter person, this is the highlighter for somebody who is not a highlighter lover. Absolutely lovely, refined, classy, gentle. Great on the eyelids as well, a little bit on the brow bone if you want to, but just wonderful on the tops of the cheeks, on top of a matte blush. Just wonderful. I didn't think that this is the highlighter of my dreams. This is basically it. I didn't think it could be as good as this is. Now, I did also buy and review the Charlotte Tilbury Glow. It is Glowgasm, isn't it? I think I'm right in saying it's Glowgasm. I'm sorry. No, the Nudegasm palette, and that's got the 4 shades, and it's got, you know, 2 lovely kind of 2 contouring shades, and then 2 very soft highlightery shades. But that's not a winner for me in the end, because the contour just doesn't work for me. So it's, you know, it's a big palette to buy when I'm only going to use the 2, and actually there are better contenders, frankly, for the highlighters. This absolutely meets all my needs, so this is an absolute winner. And the only reason why the Dior has got second place is because my needs and whims have changed. It really isn't. It's not him, it's me. Whereas this is, we're absolutely in love, and we're married now. That's it. And we're married forever. Forever. Because he made me like sign a really tough prenup, so I'm going nowhere. In terms of blush sticks and that whole blush glow stick thing, for me, there's one winner, and that is Dior. I just think their glow sticks are just lovely. They're very usable, they're easy just to put on the top of the cheeks, they're not too glimmery, they're not too glittery, and they are long lasting. So there's really only one winner. That's the winner for me, and actually I'm pleased about that, because I was one of the few people seemingly who really didn't like the new blush relaunch, powder blush relaunch from Dior. So it's really nice that I'm excited about something from Dior in the sort of the cheek category, as it were. So that for me is the absolute winner. Now, going on to lipsticks, it's quite a big category, isn't there? Because there's also lip balm and there are also lipsticks. In terms of the lip balm category, I really love and appreciate the Givenchy Rose Perfecto range. And I basically only bought one recently. It was from the new shade extension. And that was just really lovely. Now, I kind of thought, okay, that's the balm for me. That's really great. However, Prada then launched their lip balms, and as I've said before, I'm dipping my toe into Prada as a beauty range, and I was blown away by the balm. I bought one shade Rosso because out of the shades that were there, I like a deeper shade when it comes to a balm in particular, because I typically won't wear a lip liner, and just the way I wear it, I just prefer something slightly deeper. Not only is that shade really lovely, it's actually quite long lasting, and my lips are so hydrated. It's hands down an absolute winner for me. So that wins first prize, and there really isn't a second prize actually, although if there was, it would be the Givenchy, but that's more of a shade extension, so it kind of doesn't really count. And finally, in the lipstick category, it seems to me we've had a real choice of new ranges to sort of get excited about, but also a real kind of range of shades, which my sense is that that's not always the case. We've definitely had some lovely neutrals, and we've definitely had some really wonderful, deeper, more punchy shades that, you know, in a good way, we can kind of enjoy, let's say, now, but also shades to kind of take us into, you know, autumn and winter. So to that end, even though there was an enormous choice, here are my two. It wasn't very difficult to choose, I have to say, because all I had to do was look in my makeup bags and just to see. It wasn't difficult. So Charlotte Tilbury gave us 4 new shades, 3 in Matte Revolution, I think I'm right in saying, and 1 in Kissing. Dream Talk, Love Talk, Kiss Talk, and Naughty Talk. All 4 of those for me are winners, in particular Naughty Talk, because it's just such an easy shade to wear. Kiss Talk was a surprise to me. I didn't think I would wear it as much as I've ended up wearing it, but with a lovely sort of neutral lip liner, it's just been fantastic. And Dream Talk and Love Talk, there's more punch in those shades, so I'm kind of excited because these feel to me like kind of all year round shades. They're not so light that I wouldn't wear them in the winter time as well. And Lisa Eldridge has given us so far Society and Rhea and Toasted, not Rhea, Ray, Toasted and Bohemian, I was going to say Rhapsody, it's not, Bohemian Cherry. Now, what I have really worn a lot is Society, and again, that was a shade that really surprised me. I didn't think I would wear that. I kind of thought it would just be a bit too light and it would look maybe a bit weird on me. And actually, well, I would say that, wouldn't I? I don't think it looks weird on me. So that's the one I've worn the most. Now, in terms of Ray for me is a shade that I'm going to be wearing more in the winter time. That's definitely just a much richer shade for my sort of preference. But Toasted is also a winner for me. So I would say that Charlotte Tilbury is the winner for me in terms of first place, and second place is Lisa Eldridge with both Toasted and Society, and then third place is Lisa Eldridge with Ray and Bohemian Cherry, just because those 2 shades are much more sort of deeper shades for me that I would enjoy more in the autumn and winter. But I do kind of feel that I've been well served in lipsticks in the first sort of 6 months. I really do, just in terms of the kind of the range of shades. They're not, and people, the brands have not brought out very similar shades. That's kind of what it feels like to me. So there we have it. That's the first 6 months. Even as I've been telling you my choices, I have been wondering what are your choices and how kind of different, how much we differ. So do let me know in the comments down below what your winners and what your first places are. And do you vehemently disagree with anything that I have chosen? And indeed, have I left something out that to you seems like oh my goodness, how can she not be talking about this? I am conscious that I haven't really talked about contouring, because for me, contouring has been kind of won over, as I've said before in another video, by this probably quite old product, which is the Clinique. The Clinique, what do they call it? It's a chunky, no, it's not chunky, sorry. It's a chubby stick. This is what I've been using because actually I realised that I am not, Charlotte Tilbury at the moment anyway, is not really providing me with a contouring product that actually suits me. So I don't really have anything to say in that category, but again, let me know if there's something I'm missing out on. So I will see you in the comments down below. I love hearing from you. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.